Welcome back to MMAOddsBreaker. Today, of course, we have Brad Pickett. Been on here a couple different times. He's fighting Thomas Almeida, coming up here UFC 189. Obviously, it's the Jose Aldo Conor McGregor fight. But we'll get to that in a minute. Brad and I were talking. As most of you know, I always catch up with my friends before we start. Brad's a friend of mine. We got to hang out together quite a bit in England when I was commentating for Bama, and we realized that we're both having dental issues this week. Brad's bridge is knocked out. You had a bridge, so it's permanent. It's a permanent piece that's in, right? The front three or the front four?
To be honest, I could probably write a book about my front tooth. I mean, I've had so many stories. Originally, I lost it when getting into a fight when I was like in my teens. I got headbutted and my tooth broke. And then after that, I had it for a little bit. I had a crown, and then after that, I was in a car accident, and I was asleep on the back seat of the car. Woke up, my tooth got completely knocked out. I tried to put a bridge back on, but there's not enough of the tooth to put back in. So I had an implant. Right, so I had this implant done, and back in the day, I wasn't earning no money, so I tried to do it quite cheap. So I got a cheaper dentist to do it. When he gave me the implant, he done it so badly and ended up having an infection in my bone. And so the implant would never settle. So then they had to take the implant out. Mate, I was like, go on. They had to take the implant out and then gave me a bridge. And they could do a new rod, but they had to do it in a different location. I thought, I'll just stick with a bridge. So now I have a bridge, all right. But it's like your tooth's dead, and you have the two like things. Well, I could pull it out if you want to count.
Does it hurt?
No.
Okay.
So I just popped it out there, like you see. So it's like a bridge with two flaps. You see. So like what a dentist does, he glues those two ends with real good glue, like it's real good cement, and then stick it to the back of your teeth. So that's fine. When a dentist does it, it lasts in my mouth for like 6 months. Then eventually it will come loose from sparring, Right. If I didn't spar, it'd be fine. But then because it comes out, it came out when I was in America, literally the first week when I was here training, and I can't be asked going to a dentist to get it put in every time. So I just glue it back with super glue, I'll get a little bit of super
Shut up.
Yeah, I'll show you that.
This is awesome. Oh, man, I thought my mouth was bad.
DIY dentist, a little bit of super glue, a little bit on each of those little bits there. I'll put it in, give it a push, it'll stay in for a couple of days.
Wow. Now, I mean, don't be offended. Well, you're probably going to be offended. I don't fucking care. The English are not known for their fucking dental work. Like, you guys are known to have some pretty bad fucking teeth.
This is the thing, right? I am completely that stereotype. I have fucking terrible teeth. All my top teeth up here are terrible. But that is such a stereotype, which is not actually right, because many of my friends have got perfect teeth. I have just my wife.
Hold on. You say perfect. Do you mean English perfect, or do you mean American perfect? There's a different kind of perfect.
Both.
Okay, all right.
We have really good teeth back in England. It's like, for me, that's one thing I kind of like blame my parents for. As in, like, when I was a child, yeah. my parents were really old fashioned. They're a lot older than me. My dad was like 52 when I was born, and my mom was 41. So I had very old parents, and there wasn't really. Did you brush your teeth? Yeah, like they didn't really force it, and like so when I was a teen, early ages, when I was a kid, I wanted to go play video games, go outside and play soccer and that sort of stuff. I didn't look after my teeth as much, and now I'm paying, I'm paying for it now in later life. That's one thing I would make sure my kids would have great teeth.
This is for the folks at home. We used to start this conversation because I just had dental surgery, and this is for. Hold on, let me pull the. So, I have like an Invisalign flipper in right now because this implant that was put in 1994 failed. So one night I'm in bed and my tooth hurts. And I'm like, why is it hurting? I'm kind of shaking it. The whole thing comes out. The implant, the crown, everything. It's all in one piece. It just completely failed out of the bone. Like the bone deteriorated. So I go in. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll put a new implant in. The guy goes in and goes, so like Harrison Ford had a bad plane accident. He flew his plane into a golf course and crashed and broke his back. Well, they did a big grafting. There's this big newspaper article on grafting bone instead of taking it from like a hip, which makes it deteriorate. Like they did this big bone graft on his spine. So I go to this dentist. His dentist's like, okay, so you know how they do bone grafting, like in like a spine or a hip or an arm or something? Like they do this special, artificial bone grafting. He goes, yeah. He goes, that's what we have to do to your mouth because you have no bone. I had no bone underneath my right side, your left side nostril, all the way down to where that implant is. So they had to blow grafting material into it. So I've had that implant in since 1994, and it just completely failed. And these things are supposed to stay around, until like my 80s. And he's like, yeah, they just came out. Yeah. And I'm a mouthpiece guy.
My bone got like bad, so you like got an infection, and like infections could still like eat away at your bone and make it worse, and then that's what I did. You have
to go in there and scrape the whole thing. If you go back and look at my Instagram, which is at Frank Trigg, you'll see a photo of it where it opened up where my bone's exposed. Like I have it flipped open, where the dentist took a photo, and my bone is exposed as he's in there scraping out all the bad crap to blow some other stuff in there. It's amazing what they had to do to my mouth. And my whole front six are all fake because they've all been cracked and beat up, and even with the mouthpiece in, it still fell apart. I'm spending more money on this one tooth because I don't have dental insurance, so it's all out of pocket. On this one tooth, I did to have my whole original six put veneers on them. It's way more expensive. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is one stinking.
What you want to do is go to India because when you have really good dental care out there, and it's a lot cheaper. You can fly, or South Africa as well.
My buddy said Thailand. My buddy said go to Thailand.
Thailand as well. A lot of these places, yeah.
But I'm lucky I didn't go because they couldn't put an implant in. There wasn't enough bone in it to put one in. So now I have to wait 3 to 4 months anyway. So it's like I would have flown all the way out there, got nothing except like a graft like I have now, and came back and like still have to wait 4 months. So it's just it's a mess. So this is what's going on now. You're not 22 years old anymore.
I like to think I am, but I'm not.
I know. Well, we're doing. Let's be honest. I don't want to say we anymore. You do shit that most 22-year-olds can only imagine doing. Like your daily routine physically outbeats the majority of 22-year-olds on the planet. Like you're way more physical with what you have to do. And you're in that point now at 36, you're starting to pay the price for the shit that you did in your 20s. It's now, it's only been 10, 12 years. How do you think, honestly, your body's going to be when you're 45, 50, 55? Like, what do you think your body's going to be like?
It's hard to say, really, because I touch wood. I've actually been quite good with injuries. Don't get me wrong. I'm feeling it now. I had problems with my neck a little bit. I had lower back issues and stuff like that. They've been the main things. As in, my worst injury I say I've had was my ACL, but I done that when I was 21 playing football, and I've got no ACL in my knee now.
English football or proper football or American football?
No. The football is the one where you kick the ball with your foot.
Proper football. So you're playing soccer. Yeah.
Don't
get into semantics with me, buddy. We're not going to have the argument. American football is just better. That's just how it works.
You mean American handball because you get the ball? It's not the ball. It should be called American hand egg because it's an egg shape and you throw it. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know what kind of chickens you guys have.
American gets an egg and goes, you know what? Let's put it down. Let's throw it. Let's catch it. Let's run around, get tackled, put it down, throw it around, catch it. Do that a few times, and then get it, throw it, and then we'll kick it. You know what? Kick it once, and do you know what we should call this game? Call it football.
So, yeah, that is retarded. I got nothing. I'm trying to help. I got nothing. It's retarded. It is. So because I have a bunch of my buddies used to play high-level amateur, semi-pro, professional soccer here in the States, which is nowhere near as good as it is over in the UK. Like we all watch English Premier League. It's just the reality of it is we like the English Premier League here. So we've come to calling it proper football or football because Americans don't understand the difference. So if I'm asking, hey, what are you guys talking about? He'll go, oh, proper football. Okay, it means he's talking about English football. He's talking about soccer. I understand the conversation now if I jump in late. If he just looks at me and goes, hey, we're talking about football, it means American football. That's the only way we can just. Otherwise, the only other time it gets kind of weird, all of a sudden now, we're talking about Canadian football, which is another set of rules altogether. Canada has its own league and has a whole different set of rules. So it's like.
Okay. But with Canadian football, do they kick it more than American football?
Yeah, but only one more time. They kick it twice instead of once. It's American football with Canadian rules. It's a faster paced game. And then we have arena football, which is playing on a smaller court, a smaller arena, and then it's all different on top of that.
I mean, you put me out if I'm wrong, but I always found a lot of American sports are very commercial based. They're based around commercials, like
100%.
timeouts, this, that.
Money.
Is more commercials, more commercials, more commercials. Yeah, I mean,
Well, here's the difference, because proper football is soccer, English football.
Yeah.
You guys, the jerseys have sponsors on them, so there's no reason to have a timeout because all the sponsors are being seen as this guy. As Ronaldo is kicking a goal, everyone's seeing it. Everyone's watching it happen. They're seeing the advertisement. Where with America, we have no advertisements on the uniforms at all, so we have to go to timeout. We have to go to the timeout. It's the same thing with the UFC. There's now with the Reebok deal, there is no more advertisements. It's all on Reebok and on the canvas. So they're going to have to go have more television time because they have to have other advertisers have to have commercials run. Of course, we're going to see Reebok. We're going to see Harley Davidson. We're going to see, Monster Energy Drink is a new big sponsor. They're going to be seeing commercials for them. But that's the reality of America, is that it's all about the dollar amount. It's all about the dollar amount. Which brings me back to your fight card. The reason why McGregor and Aldo, even though the lighter weight class title fight is the last fight, because McGregor brings in more money.
Yeah.
He is, and if you don't agree with me, let me know. He is the number one attraction that the UFC has right now, is Conor McGregor. Bigger than Ronda Rousey, bigger than Jose Aldo, and because we lost GSP, Anderson Silva's right now in a little thing with his drug testing. With Verdum is just now the new champion. There's no one grabbing onto him. He's very quiet. He's very humble. He doesn't have that mouth. Yeah. Conor McGregor is number one, and all he is a number one title contender. That's all he is, and he's been the number one guy. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. I mean, he's got it down. He's got it right. A lot of people kind of don't understand what sometimes you need to. You don't have to be. People express themselves in different ways, but how someone could relate to a person. That's why the Ultimate Fighter was so successful back in the day, because they just didn't see two fighters fight. Because and then you get Joe Rogan in the cage for 1 minute after the fight. You don't know who that person is really. So that's when the Ultimate Fighter series done really well, because people got to see fighters behind the scenes for a longer period of time and got to relate to them in a good way or bad way. Oh, this guy's really cool, or this guy's a bit of a jerk. They get to relate to him. So that's why I think it's always been important as a fighter, when you have these chances to have interviews, even this now, you get to express yourself a little bit more, and people get to understand what type of person you are. Oh, that guy's a cool dude. Oh, that guy's an idiot, or whatever. If you started asking me questions and I went, yeah, no. Yeah. You get nothing, so no one can relate to you. So someone like, perfect example, Jacare, I think he's phenomenal.
Amazing.
But no one knows him. No one really knows about him. Hardcore fans and stuff like that do. But hardcore fans really also don't spend that much money on MMA, because the hardcore fans, they stream it, they download it there, they do that. It's the casual fans that attach themselves to Conor McGregor who will pay that $50 for a pay-per-view, where a hardcore fan, saying if I'm wrong, would be like, I'll find somewhere where I could stream that, or do this or do that.
I'm going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm going to go to Hooters. I'm going to go to some place that has it on for free. I'm going to buy 3 beers, at $3 a pop. I'm going to spend $10, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to get there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the West Coast, because that's when the first set of fights start. But I'm going to, you're right. That's what the hardcore fan does. Because part of it is, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, there's so many fights now that it's impossible for the hardcore fan to keep up. You have to have another job just to pay for your MMA habit. You have to buy the extra package on cable or on Dish or DirecTV, where you can get Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2. So it's an upper package. Then you have to pay for the pay-per-view at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. And then you've got to pay for the DVR on top of all that, because you're not going to be home all the time to watch these things.
Fight Pass as well.
And then Fight Pass at $10 a month. So it's like, it's so difficult to keep up. I can't keep up. I physically have to really, really think about, okay, I got to sit down and watch this. I really have to pay attention to this, because I interviewed this guy. If Brad wins, I got to watch Brad. I got to interview him again. I got to watch this fight. It's like this whole game that goes on, and it's tough on broadcasters to be able to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. I mean, because now I remember before, back in the day, when you're watching UFC, you knew everybody. You knew everybody who was on that card. Everyone. You know, now, I mean, very rarely did you not know who was on there, or if you did, because of course there was so many few and far. There wasn't a UFC every month. There was like 4 or 5 UFCs a year, so you knew everything. Now it's sometimes 4 or 5 UFCs in a month. You're like, what's going on? You know, so like, for example, there's a UFC tonight in Orlando, right? There's 9 fights. 8 of the fights are American top team guys.
Yeah.
I'm part of American top team. Tonight, when I'm going to go watch the fights, it's going to be the first time I watch half of those guys fight. You know, I've never seen. You know, yeah. I don't know them that well because it's. I mean, like
there's so much.
Such a fast-growing sport nowadays. There's so many participants. There's so many people doing it, and like you know, you could easily. There's some guys on the card who got records like 23-2, and you're like. Who's that guy? It's got a really good record. You ain't got a clue, you know.
I'm actually looking at your fight against Thomas Almeida, and I'm literally looking at this kid. He's 18-0. He's fought twice in the UFC, and I have no effing clue who he is. I literally am looking at his photo, going, I don't think I've ever seen this guy fight. And now, mind you, I am a diehard fan that has to watch the fights all the time, and I still have no idea about a guy that's undefeated in the UFC at 18-0 at your weight class. I'm like, I don't know anything about this guy. I can look up his record. You know, I can look it up. Oh, he's 18-0. 14 KO, so he's a striker. 3 submissions, 1 decision. He probably got those 3 submissions by being a guy up a little bit. And the guy gave him something easy, and he took it. But the reality of it is, he's from Brazil. I'm looking at from Sao Paulo, Brazil. So I'm looking at the stat sheet. That's as far as I got. I got nothing else on this guy. So you know a lot about him because you're getting ready to fight him. Break him down for it. Break him down for a person that's never seen him fight. That's gonna want to watch this fight. Break him down so people want to watch you beat the crap out of this guy. But break him down for us so we know who he is.
He's tough. Don't get me wrong. He comes from a shoebox background, so he had that traditional kind of shoeboxing sort of style of stand-up. Way more of a kickboxer. He's wrestling's suspect, but he has good hips of getting back to the feet. Jiu-jitsu. He's okay. He's got good dangerous ground, but he likes to stand up and he throws knees, elbows, everything. Very Muay Thai. He doesn't throw with crazy power. It's more volume and velocity. He will get his TKOs and TKOs not really with just one punch. It'd be like accumulation of boom, 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 boom. The guy's hurt. He's going down and like that sort of thing. He throws with speed and accuracy. He's very accurate and very, very fast with his speed. But for me, for my style though, I kind of like he throws more straight. But actually, he's a taller guy than me, but he doesn't use his range very well. He actually fights in the pocket as well, which I like fighting in the pocket. But he's taller than me, so for me, when someone's taller than me and fights in the pocket with me, it's easy to hit those looping punches, uppercuts, and stuff like that, you know. So he gets hit as well. He's very hittable. So am I. So that's why I think it's going to be pretty much one of the good fights. You know, he's had 2 fights in the UFC and hit 2 fight night bonuses. You know, so I've had at bantamweight, I've had 5 fights and I've had 4 bonuses. So.
This for me, to be honest with you, if it's not the Lawler McDonald fight, this will be fight of the night.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor, I just think that match made wise, the way stylistic wise, this is fight of the night, or Robbie Lawler and McDonald gonna be fight of the night. Just because they're so close, it's such a close battle between you guys. And honestly, you know, I've never pulled any punches. Everybody knows I shoot it straight, even to my friends. I have a hard time picking this fight. I have a really hard time looking at it and going, okay, who am I gonna pick? I'm going to sit down with my buddy Nick Kalikas, who's the odds maker for MMA. He makes everybody steals his odds, and sit down and go like, how the hell is this thing going to break out? Like, where's it going to break down? So when we do our fight breakdown show, I'm still probably going to be stuck in the middle. Like, I can't tell you which way to go because I am biased. When you fight, I am biased. I tend to lean towards you because you're fighting, and that's a problem I have with my friends. I try not to do that, but I always do it. I always end up leaning on them. So half the time I got to leave this one alone. Because it's a friend of mine fighting, and I'm going to make the wrong decision. This is how it works out for me. So convince me on why you're going to knock this guy out. Convince me on why he's going to win this fight.
This is the thing, right? He actually is going in. He's 18-0. You know, he's the favorite by the bookies and stuff. But what people don't understand, this ain't a match test. You know, odds don't mean nothing. You know, there's a funny way, especially in this sport, where heart, determination, you know, all that sort of stuff trumps logic, So logic, this guy's this, he's 18-0. He's been beaten 8 times, whatever. This guy's gonna win. No, this sport, logic doesn't come into factor at all, So I ain't scared. I remember when I fought Demetrius Johnson, he was 14-0. Everyone was raving about him. I actually gave him a one-sided beating. Don't get me wrong, he's gone on and done great things since then, but it was a very one-sided fight, me versus Demetrius Johnson. So how I'm going to say this kid is young, he would have his day. I just don't feel he's going to have his day that night. That's how I see it. I'm going to be his bump in the road, his learning curve. And like I say, I'm as tough as they come, as you know. So you don't when you go by odds and stats like that, you don't really pay that into consideration. So. It doesn't matter. I will be his toughest fight to date as well. So I don't think he's fought a puncher, who can wrestle as well. So I'm not just going to keep it on the feet and just have a slugfest. I'll take him down, beat him up on the floor. I'll do everything, And people know me. I'll go out. If I go out, I'll go out in a ball and flame. I ain't gonna just cower in a corner and I want out. I'm gonna, mate. I've never been knocked out in my life, right? Ever, right? I've been dropped, don't get me wrong. That's not getting knocked out, though. I've been dropped and I recover and I get back up. So I could take a punch, So, I'm not scared of being in these dog fights. I've been there, done that, I ain't got my own. I'm worrying about losing, I'm not worried about losing. I don't fight. A lot of people getting a bit, sidetracked here. But I say I never fight because I hate the guy in front of me. It's never that way. I fight because I love what's behind me. So I'm a very proud person. Right. So I fight for my team, my family, my wife, that sort of stuff. That's what I fight for. So it doesn't matter who you put in front of me. It could be Czech Congo. It could be Joseph Benavidez. Put both of them in now. I'm going out there. I'm going to fight. And that's who I am.
Now, you're talking about, people behind you. American Top Team is a very loyal, very tight-knit group of competitors. You said tonight that there's 8 guys on the card.
It's a record, and most guys from one camp fighting on the card.
How many are fighting on UFC 189? How many guys from American Top Team? It's you and Lawler, I know for sure, and then who else?
Just me and Lawler, because actually the next day, the day after, we have American Top Team versus Black Zillion. So we've got quite a few guys on that card, obviously.
And that's July 12th at MGM as well. That's the very next night. That's with Jake Ellenberger and John Stevens fighting? I forget. Is the main event.
Yeah.
I think it's Jeremy Stevens. I think it's anyway, I forget. But I know Jake Ellenberger is fighting. I forget who he's competing against. But that's the main event for that.
Yeah.
One. And it's gonna be and there's a crap ton. There's like half the card is American Top Team again. Of course,
we got Masvidal on the card. Yeah, but we got a lot of good guys on that card.
Yeah, that's amazing. How is it American Top Team right now? How competitive is it with all these fights coming up right now?
We're just always busy. This is just like non-stop. As in Mike Brown, this is I'm at Mike Brown's house. I stay with Mike Brown. He is non-stop. He's Brazil one week, Mexico another week, this that week that. He's just non-stop back and forth. So he's busy. Yeah. It's a busy gym, very busy gym, which is good for me. For me as well. Sometimes you have those gyms where you have a few good elite guys, but they have their fights. One gets injured, the gym's empty. Here. It's like there's so many people in the gym, and at high level and also lower level, But when I say lower level, the level's still good. They're just not made it yet, So there's a vast, if you're fighting some tall southpaw guy, there'll be one in the gym for you. If you're fighting a short, stocky wrestler, orthodox, there'll be one there. Yeah, there's so many different body types there, So you can really. American Top Team, you really can pick your own training partners to really suit your fight. And I have some great training partners for my fight as well.
Good for you. Yeah. All right, man. It sounds great. American Top Team it's the hot spot to be right now. I'm going to interview from there saying it's absolutely amazing. I have nothing but great things to say about it. And I can't wait to see how that weekend works out for you guys. 189 and then the tough finale. That's Brad Pickett. He's getting ready to fight Thomas Almeida coming up here on UFC 189. Thanks, Brad, as always, for coming on here. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of training camp. Last question before we get you out of here. When it's fight night, you can take that tooth out and put your mouthpiece in, or you're actually going to keep it in and keep your mouthpiece on?
I take it out because I had it in before, and when I fought it got broke while I was in there, and it was on my mind like shit. I need to make sure I then. This is one story. Do you know a commentator called Stephen Quadros?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right. Next time you see him, tell him about me. Because back in the day when I fought in cage rage, the same sort of thing happened. I had my tooth fixed. It was fixed. And I was fighting a guy called Robbie Olivier. And he punched me or kicked, whatever, hit me in the mouth. My tooth broke out. And I had a shocking round. You know, he completely just iron blanketed me. He was on top of me. I couldn't get up. I was in such a bad mood, such a sock. And at the end of the round, I pulled my gum shield out, and my tooth was alright. I spat my tooth out, and I didn't realize where it went. They actually shot out onto the commentator's desk, and you heard that Stephen Coach goes, "Holy shit, Brad Pickett just spat his tooth out on the, you know." And it was quite funny. And then I remember going after the fight, and he told me, "Oh, can I have that back?" He was like, "Yeah, no worries," and he gave it to me back. It was quite funny.
That's great. I will actually. I'll talk to Steve probably here next week or so. I'll talk to him about it. Thanks, Brad, again, man. Appreciate it so much for coming out here, buddy. Have a great time.
Anytime, Tom.
I'll see you when you come into Vegas.
I'll see you in Vegas. See you, Frank.
See you, bud.